Okay, so I was looking for some good CD rates, and the banks locally didn't really give me anything that I liked. So I went on my brokerage account at Charles Schwab and looked at the CDs, and I found that the rates at Charles Schwab and other brokers actually are better than local CD rates usually that you can get. I'm by no means an expert. This is just my experience. So if you think any of this is true, make sure you do your own research. And so I went and started purchasing CDs off my brokerage account at Charles Schwab. Now, at one time, years ago, I had purchased a CD at a bank that was local, and the only reason why I purchased from that bank was because their CD rates were higher than everybody else's. And I thought I had a good bank. It was FDIC insured, and well, the bank went under. And what happens when the bank goes under? The government comes in and they'll cover your amount that you had in the bank as far as your CD goes. So if you got a $10,000 CD, the bank could come in and make a notice to the FDIC, and the FDIC will cover your CD. So in my case, I put 10,000 in. I had the money in there for about 6 months out of a year, and the FDIC covered the 10,000 plus a little bit of interest, not all the interest, but a little bit of it. So when picking a CD, it's kind of important to do your research. And I have found a way to research CDs on my own that I use that I thought may help other people. There may be other ways to do this. I just don't know what other ways there are, but I have a couple of sites I'll show you, and I'll show you how I research. So when you get to Charles Schwab, you could go into your application and try to buy a CD. You get into the CD area and you can select between 1 month and 20 years, it looks like. So you select one of the fields that you're interested in. In my case, I'm going to probably pick the 3 month one here. And you can see that a whole bunch of CDs show up on the left, and the amount that the coupon is for is on the right. Now, whenever you buy a CD on here, you want to make sure that it's FDI insured. I'm pretty sure almost all these are, but you got to check, and I'll show you in a second. So as you can see, I clicked one of the CDs on the left, and this window pops up on Charles Schwab. And you can see that it gives you all kinds of information of maturity, what date, the interest rate, and the important part is the FDIC number. And that's the number you want to grab. You grab that number and you put it into these two websites, actually two or three websites, and it'll tell you what those websites will tell you what they think these bank should be rated at. And you go from a 1 star to a 5 star, and then there's other um, methods of determining that as well. So we'll take that number there, that FDIC number, and paste it into our applications, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is Bauer Financial, and I'll leave the links in the description below. And what you do is you see that FDIC number on the right top where the submit button is. You put the FDIC number of that bank in there, and you'll come back with a rating. In this case, this bank, this BEAL bank, gets 3.5 stars out of 5. And that's not good enough for me. I want 5 stars on all of my banks. So I would never buy this CD. I mean, granted, chances are you're going to be fine with anything that's FDIC, but why would I want to take a CD that has a 3.5 star rating when there are plenty of 5 star ratings out there? So you just put the number in there and it'll tell you what the rating is. Sometimes they give you a little more information on the bottom, and it tells you when the last time these were based on, the day that it was last based on. So that's one way to check. And here's another way to check. It's called depositaccounts.com. And you put the ID number on the top there on the right corner, and it'll come back with a rating. It'll tell you how many locations the banks have, the health status of the bank, and the total assets of the bank. In this case, it's a B plus, which also is not high enough for me. I want an A plus or at least an A. and I wouldn't use this. I'll show you something else about this site. So if you scroll down on the site, you'll get more information, and here's more information on a similar bank. It's not the bank we just showed, but it's a similar bank, and it'll give you the information about the Texas ratio trend, deposit growth, and capitalization. And being B plus, you can see some of the ratings are lower than an A. It'll also tell you how much they have in assets, loans, deposits, equity capital, loan allowance, etc. This is actually a good way to determine if you're more interested in the bank or not. Now, an A plus is going to have a lot of good ratings for these sub ratings here, and I go by A plus or A normally. Here's a third site that I just found out pretty recently. It's called FFIEC. And for the most part, I don't like to use this one that much. Sometimes the FEID numbers I put in don't even show up. But occasionally they do, as you can see here. Sometimes they show up. It doesn't tell you much, but it's a third option. And here I just wanted to show you an example of a 5-star rating. And here's an example of an A rating. They also come in A plus, so this isn't the highest. Now, here's the sites that I used. I'm going to have it in the description below as well. And I don't know how accurate they are. I don't know if they're legit, but I use them, and that's what I go by. I'm no financial expert. I'm just a normal person. So I found these links and used them to check my CDs before I purchase them. So this is how I purchase my CDs using a brokerage account or any other account. You could put regular bank IDs in there as well and find out if the CDs are going to be more reliably paid off over time.